Hey everyone, I'm Sergio with Mobility Direct. Welcome to our channel. In today's video, I'm taking you along for a full day at Disney World's Epcot theme park in Orlando, Florida, and showing you exactly what it's like to explore the park while using a mobility scooter. I recently visited with my wife, daughter, and a few close friends during the International Flower and Garden Festival, which, by the way, I highly recommend checking out if you ever get a chance. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, we spent the entire day making memories together, and the best part, at the end of it all, my knees and feet didn't hurt one bit. For those of you who don't know, I've had several knee surgeries over the years, so being on my feet all day just isn't an option anymore. I could still walk short distances, but having a scooter like this made the experience so much easier. And anytime I felt like walking, my wife, daughter, or even some of our friends would hop on the scooter and take it for a spin. The scooter I used in this trip is the Gogo Super Portable by Pride Mobility, and honestly, it checks all the boxes for me. It's super easy to transport in the trunk of a car, has a great battery range, really maneuverable, super comfortable, and surprisingly powerful for its size. If you'd like to learn more about this scooter, I'll link our full review video, and you'll also see it pop up right here at the top corner of your screen. You could also claim a copy of our free product catalog. It has our latest products, discount codes, and a ton of information about our company. To get a copy, go to our website, mobilitydirect.com. Click on the green button at the top of every page that says free catalog, fill out the simple short form, and you'll get one in the mail within 1 to 2 weeks tops. You could also just call one of our non-commissioned sales experts with the number below, give them your address, and they'll process a request for you by phone. Or feel free to visit one of our local stores and test drive this product today. We'd love to earn your business. Now, for those of you who don't know, Epcot is one of Disney World's 4 main theme parks known for celebrating technology, innovation, world culture, and food all in one place. It's like traveling the world and exploring the future without ever leaving Orlando. Best of all, Epcot's one of the most accessible theme parks in the world. Whether you're using a mobility scooter, wheelchair, or ECV, the entire park is designed to make getting around easy and stress-free. You'll find smooth pathways, wide ramps, automatic doors at most entrances, and even designated parking and charging areas for scooters throughout the park. That being said, it's also important to know that while Epcot is extremely accessible, there are a few rides and experiences that do require guests to transfer out of their scooter or wheelchair in order to participate. Some attractions have vehicles that you'll need to either step into or onto, so being able to walk a short distance or stand with assistance might be necessary for certain rides. But don't worry. Disney's cast members are always super helpful when it comes to accessibility needs, and most attractions have clear signs or information letting you know what to expect ahead of time. I kept the camera rolling the entire day, so grab some popcorn and enjoy the ride. My hope is that this video inspires you to plan your own Disney adventure someday, whether it's with friends, family, or both. And be sure to stick around until the very end of the video because you won't want to miss out on the world-famous Epcot Firework show. It's truly the perfect ending to an unforgettable day. Oh, and one more thing. Somewhere towards the end of this video, I'm going to flash a hidden message on the screen that includes an exclusive discount code. It's my little way of saying thank you for watching, and it'll help you save big on your next purchase of a mobility scooter or power wheelchair from Mobility Direct. All right, so let's take it back to the beginning. When we first got to the parking lot of the theme park, I was able to unload the super portable Gogo by Pride Mobility with ease by tilting and rolling it out of the trunk instead of having to deadlift it. That's what I love about this model. And the fact that it folds up with a shape that's super compact makes it extremely easy to transport in the trunk of a vehicle, even with suitcases and other luggage. It also has a USB charging port to charge your phone in case you run out of battery, and the seat's really comfortable. I used this thing all day, and I was extremely happy with it. Now here's the thing, even after spending a full day at Epcot, we still only saw about 30% of the park. Honestly, this is a theme park that you would probably want to go to for a full weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if you really want to see every nook and cranny and enjoy every part of the park. With that being said, I'm going to show you as much as I can with my full day trip there, and I will be back soon in the future, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll get notified whenever we release new videos just like this one. I also want to take the time to tell you that we have tons of videos showing you what it's like to travel the world with a mobility device, not just the theme parks. We go on airplane rides across the country to various places and we document the entire experience. We also have educational resources for you to learn and prepare for an airplane trip with an electric wheelchair or mobility scooter. We'll take you through the entire process from checking in, boarding the plane, and landing at your destination. These videos are extremely helpful, and I think you'll learn a lot if you've never traveled with a power wheelchair or mobility scooter by plane. We also do the same thing with trains, buses, and more. So check out our YouTube channel. You'll find a lot of educational resources for mobility device users. So now, as you can see, we're approaching the park entrance, and you don't really need to get off your scooter or wheelchair. They will ask you if you are able to walk. And in this case, I was able to, so I went through the metal detector and didn't give them a problem. If you can't walk, though, they will just ask you to kind of show what you have in your storage compartments. I had a little case for all my camera gear. They asked us to open up our backpack and, just show them that we don't have any type of contraband, explosives, weapons, things like that. Once we were able to make it through the metal detector, I got right back on my scooter, and that was it. I didn't really have to get up again. I will add that the security staff members at Epcot are super friendly, very patient, and it seems like they're just super experienced with dealing with mobility scooters and electric wheelchair users. I mean, throughout the entire park, I saw thousands of people using wheelchairs, scooters, and walkers. And when you first enter the park, you're going to see the iconic Epcot globe and a huge water fountain. Great moments to take a selfie or picture with your friends and family. Like I mentioned earlier, during the time of our visit, Epcot's International Flower and Garden Festival was taking place, and let me tell you, it was absolutely beautiful. As we made our way through the park, both inside and outside of every attraction, we were surrounded by incredible garden displays and stunning floral arrangements everywhere you looked. Now, personally, I've always loved gardening, so this was a cool surprise, especially since we didn't even realize the festival was happening when we originally planned our trip. Needless to say, it was an unexpected bonus that really added to the magic of the day. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and cue up some music so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the scenery. And don't worry, I'll pop in from time to time to share a little more about what you're seeing throughout the video. Alright, so now you can see we're entering the Land Pavilion, which is basically like a giant museum dedicated to teaching you all about sustainable living and what it means to live off of the land. As you make your way inside, there's a designated parking area for mobility scooters and wheelchairs right near the entrance. To get down to the ride, you'll need to take an elevator, which is super spacious. My Gogo Super Portable fit in there with no problem at all, along with several other guests. Now, what I really love about this ride called Living Off the Land is that it's not only relaxing, but you actually learn so much about gardening, farming, aquaculture, and horticulture. I was able to bring my camera on the ride, so you'll get to see exactly what I saw. Honestly, I was blown away by how advanced and futuristic their gardens were. It's hands down the most impressive botanical setup I've ever seen. Everything was so clean, organized, and perfectly maintained. It actually made me wish I could have something like this setup at home. I do grow a few fruits and veggies in my backyard, but this was next level stuff. There's even a part of the ride where they show you how they farm raise fish, shrimp, and all kinds of other seafood right there on site. Overall, I really enjoyed the Living with the Land attraction. It's educational, peaceful, and super unique. I highly recommend checking it out if you ever visit Epcot. The next attraction that you're going to see on the screen is the Butterfly Garden, which is stunning. Not only is there a ton of beautiful flowers, but there are a ton of butterflies and little stations for their cocoons. You can see the whole process of their metamorphosis, which I think is awesome. Ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated by that metamorphosis process that caterpillars go through to become butterflies. It was a moment that we could use to teach our daughter what that's all about. And I think that's part of the Flower and Garden Festival. I'm not sure if that's there all year long. However, I thought it was awesome, and I wanted to just explain what that butterfly garden was all about. After we were done there, we continued our adventure, but my daughter was hungry, so we got some grapes out of our backpack, which, by the way, I highly recommend taking a backpack if your scooter doesn't have a rear cage-style basket. Many scooters have that hitch receiver on the back that you can attach a rear basket to. The Gogo Super Portable doesn't, but personally, I think using a backpack is sometimes a better option. And for some of you Lion King diehard fans out there, you could see there was an awesome art exhibit with Simba, Mufasa, and a couple of fans taking some pictures. All right, folks, well, we're getting close to the end of the video here. I do want to add that towards the end of the day, the battery meter was still full, which is super impressive. Now, make sure you stay tuned to the end if you want to see that epic fireworks show that everybody stays late for. It's amazing. I really hope you enjoyed coming along for the ride and getting a little glimpse of what it's like to visit Disney World using a mobility scooter. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, please consider showing your support by subscribing to our YouTube channel. It really helps us out and lets us keep making videos like this. And if you know someone who might enjoy this video or find it helpful, feel free to share it on Facebook so others can see it too. Also, just as a quick reminder, every time you shop with us at Mobility Direct, a part of your purchase helps fund our monthly mobility scooter giveaway program, where we donate brand new scooters to people in need. So by supporting us, you're also helping us give back to the mobile community in a big way. Lastly, if you have any questions at all about visiting Disney with a mobility scooter or about the scooter I was using in this video, feel free to drop a comment below. I personally read and respond to as many comments as I can, and I'd love to help out however I can. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay safe, stay mobile, and I'll see you in the next video.